Okay, thank you for joining us here today. Today on the show, we are talking with filmmaker Jacob Hamblin. Jacob, thank you for being here. Jacob is a UVU alumni. He's an award-winning writer and director and the founder of his own production studio, Ironside Pictures. In his latest short film, Till Death Do Us Part, is premiering at the Orem Film Festival tonight. It is a gothic love story inspired by the classic monster movies that first made him fall in love with cinema. Today, we're going to be getting into his creative process, what it was like to bring his project to life, and what audiences can expect when they go see it later tonight. So, Jacob, thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's get into your film project. I am super excited to see it tonight, but can you just tell us a little bit about the premise? What is it about? What can audiences expect to see tonight?
Yeah. So, like you said, it's very heavily inspired on old classic kind of like Universal monster movies. So that old black and white, Frankenstein, Dracula. That was the inspiration to set out and kind of capture that same feeling that I guess you don't see in a lot of movies anymore, like that old school kind of horror. So yeah, that's what we did. The film Till Death Do Us Part is about an undertaker's apprentice, and he's deeply in love with this woman, and he kind of sets out to steal a ring off a dead corpse that they've just buried. Okay. So some spooky stuff happens, but like I said, it's very heavily inspired just on the old school black and white kind of horror movies that you don't see anymore. So, and that was the whole thing while filming it. Was always the question of like, how would they have done it back in the day? So it was really fun.
Okay, that's exciting. So perfect film for spooky season. You got a lot of different elements going on. It sounds like you got a little bit of the horror element, gothic. Is there any like romance or anything?
A little bit. I don't want to spoil it too much. I mean, there's obviously, I would say a little bit of romance, more obsession, okay, kind of that, romantic sense. Mm-hmm. Kind of the pitfall of that obsession for love. But it's a great film. We've been lucky to kind of share it all over, and it is, it's perfect for right now. And it's not too scary. I've had people ask me, is it too scary? If you've seen any of those old monster movies, I wouldn't say they're, I guess back in the day they were really, really scary, but and compared to nowadays, I wouldn't call it really scary, but it's kind of got that spooky undertone and everything. And I don't know, when I watch it, I don't get scared. I'm more just kind of in love with like that feeling and that old school nostalgic feeling of, I grew up watching those old films with my dad. So,
okay, super cool. So you mentioned that there's a theme of obsession. What other kind of themes do you think you play with in this short film?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, obsession, kind of just like the living and the dead, and playing around with the temptations of kind of greed. That's a big thing. But like messing with the dead, and kind of, when someone has died, paying the respect of leaving them alone. And sometimes, you better leave that alone. But there is the romance element to it. And, one of the lines is, some love stories are better left buried.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
Yeah.
Play on words there.
Yeah.
Okay. Exciting. Yeah. Without giving too much away, I appreciate that.
No, you're good.
Good to like pique my interest.
Yeah.
So for those who weren't able to attend the film festival, where do you think students can they watch it later on, or where can we find this short film?
Yeah. So we just announced actually today, Omeletto. It's a big YouTube channel. I grew up watching their channel. They post some of the best short films from all over the world. There's some Sundance films that get put on Omeletto as well. And you can go through their selection on YouTube and see a lot of big list actors that have been in some films. But we just found out a couple of months ago, we'll be premiering Till Death Do Us Part on Omeletto on October 3rd. So anyone who does miss it, we've just done our kind of year-long festival run. And as everything's been winding out, it'll be now finding its home on Omeletto.
Okay. And is this a subscription service or?
No, it's just a YouTube channel. It's got about 4 million subscribers. You can subscribe. Like I said, I've been a big time follower, subscriber from Omeletto forever, because when I fell in love with filmmaking, I wanted to go watch other awesome short films. And I feel like Omeletto was like the first kind of like I found it on YouTube and was like, wow, there's so many awesome films on here. So like, I would recommend like, just go join on low, not even just to watch our film, but just go look at all the amazing films on there, because they post, I think, almost weekly or every other week, just a short film and from around the world, and it just kind of shows you that there's plenty of films being made all the time.
Okay,
But yeah,
super cool. Yeah, we'll have to give that a look. And you said October 3rd.
October 3rd. Yep, it'll be
Okay.
releasing.
Perfect.
So perfect, and just in time for Halloween.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So another question I wanted to ask you is, you are a UVU alumni.
Yeah.
You went through the whole film project or the film degree. Is that what your degree is?
Yeah.
How has your, trajectory been since graduating UVU, and what have you been doing since then?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like things have kind of sped up quite a bit since graduating from UVU. I've been very lucky. I keep having to. I tell everyone that, because I truly feel like I've been super blessed with all these different opportunities. And I feel like when I was in school, you kind of get like antsy, and you're like, oh my gosh, once I can just leave school, I feel like life will begin and stuff. And but I feel like it kind of happened. Just a lot of stuff. I've been very fortunate. So just all the film festivals have been able to. We had another film that we did that premiered at not this year's, but last year's Cannes Film Festival in France.
Oh, cool.
Which was a dream come true, and was really cool to be there with the big
That's a big
stuff.
film festival.
Yeah. So, and then we got to premiere this film, Till Death Do Us Part. We actually premiered it at the Holly Shorts Film Festival in LA, which is a Oscar qualifying film festival. We got that in part with, we got a little bit of funding through First Flights, which they're amazing. They helped fund through a competition. We sent in the script right as we were about to shoot. My producer Kamiko sent him the script, and it was a part of their competition. We were one of the winners that got a little bit of money, as well as acceptance into the Holly Shorts Film Festival. And First Flights is actually the people who produced An Irish Goodbye, which won an Academy Award a couple of years ago at the Oscars.
Okay. Wow.
So it's a short film, but so that was a huge honor. So we've had a lot of stuff like this, and I've been, we've gone to some amazing festivals with this film. But yeah, since graduating UVU, I feel like everything that I've learned here, and the people as well. I've met so many great people. I think that's probably my biggest, what I love so much about coming here is I've met so many friends that have helped on this film. And then professors I'm still in contact with, like one of my main professors that I love, and I've just learned so much from. He came to kind of our cast and crew screening of this film, and that meant a ton. So, and he's been in contact with me and has helped me even outside of college. So, but it's been great.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like UV has helped you a lot. You still have those connections. It's where you started to gain a love for filmmaking, it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So where else would you say your love for filmmaking comes from? What inspires you?
Yeah. My dad. I grew up watching a lot of old movies with my father, movies that I probably shouldn't have seen at a young age, but regardless, I loved it. Yeah. He loves older films. I grew up mainly watching a ton of Westerns. My dad's a big cowboy guy, which we're in works to hopefully do a feature Western here later on. But my dad just, that's when anyone asks, I just grew up watching old films and kind of learning his love for these older movies and stuff, and even newer films, going to the movie. Like I said, we go see movies that maybe a young kid shouldn't see, but I feel like all of that love and kind of passion for film really kind of started with him, because he opened me up to a lot of films. And I am so grateful for that, because I feel like I've also gone and searched for other films, and I can still talk to him about stuff. So, but yeah, definitely the passion, and I would say obsession for films definitely came from him.
Okay. So does your dad have a background in filmmaking, or is he just a film lover?
No, just a film lover. Grew up just, watching movies, and really was into Westerns and stuff. And I feel like that was kind of, I don't know, for my family. I remember our kind of weekly kind of like family outing was going to Blockbuster. And I remember like we weren't the family that goes in there and just grabs them. We were in there like for like a couple hours.
Okay.
Like I remember when they brought like the Blu-ray in there and they had the bean bags, and like I remember like watching like a full movie in Blockbuster and like the employees being like, why is that family still like get out?
Yeah.
And like my dad, like, we don't have enough to have a Blu-ray at home, so like might as well just like sit here and kind of watch this movie. So but yeah,
they're big movie people.
oh yeah, he, and especially him, I mean, he'd go to Blockbuster and rent like 10 different films, and my mom would be like, how are you gonna watch all these films in like a week? But my dad would find the time. Like he is kind of a couch potato, but
Yeah.
you know, I would sneak in sometimes watching movies I shouldn't have. Like I remember watching Signs when I was a little kid. I was like underneath like a table or something in our living room, just like trying to like watch it late at night when I didn't know I was still up. And
Yeah.
I remember that scared me a ton. But
Yeah, that one's a little scary.
yeah, but yeah, just my dad is a big movie guy, and it's been fun kind of getting older, like talking to him about that and talking about older films and finding films that I don't remember watching with him. Be like, I watched this. Have you ever seen this? And he's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I love that film and stuff. And it's been interesting also like pursuing film and like learning more about like film analysis and stuff. And then being able to have this conversation with my dad and him be like, I don't know why I like this. And, or like showing him films that like, I don't know if he would have, he's like, I would have never watched this unless he like really told me.
Right.
And then him be like, I don't understand it, but I really like it for some reason. And then like having that discussion with him and talking about like kind of like the filmmaking aspect of it, and him kind of like, wow, this is a whole other side of filmmaking or films that I didn't even know about. So that's been really cool. And him to, I guess, see that like, oh, I understand stuff now a lot more talking to you. So
Yeah, that's super cool. So it sounds like you kind of just always loved movies growing up. But do you remember if like when that happened where you were like, I want to start making movies?
yeah. Funny enough, so yeah, it was, I mean, my whole life I grew up like I loved movies, but I always figured the two things were you had to be rich or you had to live in Hollywood to make them. I never thought you could be anyone in the world and just go make movies. Like that didn't make sense to me. But then my sister went to Lone Peak High School here in Utah, and she took a film class, and I remember her coming home and making these movies and stuff. And I remember being in some of them, and I've gone back and watched them. They're really funny. My sister and her friends were really great. And I remember being like, that's really cool. Like, this is awesome that you can like do this and put together a whole story and stuff. And so we're 9 years apart, but I remember being like, man, when I get to high school, I'd love to take that class. I don't know what it is. And so when I finally got to high school, I took a sophomore year. They had a different teacher. It was still really fun. I met some great kids, and I was kind of on the fence if I wanted to completely do it. And then a new teacher came in. His name's Dustin Topham at Lone Peak High School, and he's still there. And it was really when he came in, I'm glad I did it because I almost didn't do it my junior year. And it was my sister actually talked me into it because she told me, she's like, maybe you'll like this other teacher a little bit more, and like maybe you'll learn a ton more and stuff. And so I took it my junior year. I feel like that's like when I really was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And Dustin there at Lone Peak, like I just like fell in love with it, and he brought so much to the program there and kind of just rebuilt it and brought all this equipment and all this, like finally I had all access to all this stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to be rich. I don't have to live in Hollywood. I can like do all this and stuff. And there was people around me that were really passionate about it too. Like my best friends in the world, I met in those classes, and we're still friends. We came here to UVU, and we're now all doing like film related jobs, and they worked until death, and we still do a ton of film stuff. But like we all met in that class together. And yeah, high school, like mainly junior, senior years when I really was like, because I had different plans for college. I always thought I was going to do like history. I love history. A lot of my films that I do are like period piece.
Okay, yeah.
So I thought I was going to come and like study, and like I honestly thought I was going to be Indiana Jones. I think I wanted to go into archaeology. So again, watching movies and just being like, oh, I'm inspired by that. But that was kind of my plan for college until I took those classes in high school. And then I went, you know what? I think I'm gonna do film. I actually think there's like a career in this for me. And I think that there's like a path, and I don't have to do like my eyes were opened up, and I haven't looked back since, and it's been great.
Okay, that's awesome. So that's like, sounds like the good parts of pursuing this, journey in film you've been on. What has been like some of the more difficult parts of pursuing film?
Oh, there's a ton. I mean, filmmaking in general it's hard. It's problem solving on the fly is technically what I tell a lot of people, because there's always going to be something that goes wrong. You can definitely plan for stuff, but you can't plan for everything. And that's kind of the beauty of it too, because it kind of keeps you on your feet. You'll definitely get a lot of rejection from people, and starting out, like you're pulling like 20 different jobs and stuff.
Right.
Like I feel very fortunate. Like our team is expanded so much, and now as like a writer director, I don't feel like I'm having to do like 30 other jobs. I'm still having to probably do more than I typically do. I mean, still on like indie filmmaking, but I think that's the good thing about it too, is like you learn a lot of those jobs and you have a lot more respect for it. I feel like I've worked with people that I don't know if they've gone through that yet per se, because I've worked with people that maybe don't have a lot of respect for those lower end jobs on the film crew, and they don't give them a ton of respect. And I love everyone on a film set. I mean, you can't do anything without everyone, and it's very a team sport, I guess, if you consider it a sport. But it's hard, and things are going to happen that go wrong. Like I remember we were filming a film in college, and we accidentally formatted the drive. Like this is when we learned about backup drives. That was a big thing that we needed to learn. And so we definitely have been like, that was our experience of like, hey, we now need like a couple of backup drives. So if anything like this happens, we can salvage the project. We still were able to. It was a whole conundrum and everything. But filmmaking, it's, you're going to get rejections, and a lot of stuff's out of pocket. This film was a lot out of pocket, except for we did a Kickstarter, the other half of it through that. So, but like through all of it, like it's an investment in yourself, and it's an investment of like learning as well, not just for my portfolio and everything, but like I feel like me as a person, I'm able to just like my head, like think better and be more creative, and I'm very grateful for all that. So,
sounds like it's been like just like a learning process. Like,
yeah,
even through the difficult things, you've still been able to like take things from those lessons and like apply it to your career as a filmmaker.
Yeah, it's kind of like school still. Like I'm constantly still failing and learning stuff, and being like, hey, we could have done better on this. What can we do next time? And I love that. Like there's always room for improvement. It's kind of like always chasing that.
Yeah,
and it's really fun.
That's really cool. So like, what advice would you give to UVU students who are maybe currently studying film or wanting to study film? Like, what advice would you give to them?
Just keep making stuff. That's my biggest thing that I tell a lot of people, is keep making stuff, and don't rely. I've told a lot of kids this that that are going to college. Don't rely on like your homework assignments and like films that you have to make just for class. Because like here, what they'll do is they'll do the portfolio review and everything to go into the upper division. And you'll find that like at that point, when everyone does, the people that have still stayed in the program and they get to the portfolio review, their portfolio is full of the exact same projects that everyone's done in the exact same class.
Right. And then they don't stand out.
They don't really stand out. And I don't think necessarily it's like having to stand out, but it's the like pursuit of like, if you really want to do this, like you shouldn't just be relying on your classes to tell you when to go do it. Yeah. Like my portfolio when I went was, I didn't use anything from my classes. Because I was really passionate about the stuff I was doing outside of school. So just keep making stuff, whether it's commercials, short films, like music videos, anything you're passionate about, or even if you don't know, like try all of them. That's what I did. Just keep making stuff. That's the biggest, I feel like, pitfall that I've seen a lot of kids fall in, is they're kind of just waiting for an opportunity. Don't wait for an opportunity. Make your own opportunity. There's a great little video online. I can't remember who it's from, but it's called "The Cavalry Isn't Coming," and it's talking about that, even that for Hollywood, like no one's going to come, like very rarely is it going to happen with Hollywood's going to come to you and be like, we love your little short film, like come make a feature and everything. Like you got to make your own opportunities. Like no one's coming to help you. Do it yourself. And that's kind of been my team's mentality, and it's worked out really well for us. Like we just are like, let's just go make it. No one's
just proactive.
Go do it.
Just go out and film stuff. If it sucks, you learn something from it and you get better next time.
Yep. And just like have fun doing it.
Yeah.
I love that. Keep making stuff. Like too many times there's a lot of critics in this world, and like be an author, make something. Don't just critique films or, say, oh, I could have done better when you're not doing anything yourself. Like, go make something and everything will fall into place.
Okay, that's really good advice.
Yeah.
I love that. So let's get into more of like the technical aspect of your film. So you kind of told me like the premise, kind of the main themes that we talk about. And then I also read online that for this film, you mostly use practical effects, which is a little bit interesting in today's day and age when everything is just so digital, so hyper edited. So what was like the thought process behind using the practical effects in this film?
So two things. I'm definitely not gonna lie. A lot of the practical stuff, because it's cheaper, you know, 100%. You know, when you're on an indie budget and you're paying out of pocket, some practical effects can be a lot cheaper than just being like, well, fix it in post, which is a terrible pitfall. I like doing practical stuff. I like being able to see it. I like giving my actors like stuff that they can like physically touch or see. So the big thing was that, and then also capturing that like nostalgic feel of these old films, like I was talking about.
Right.
So a lot of the time we were going like, okay, what would they have done? Because there was a few times where like, oh, we'll do this, and it was like, that feels like too flashy for this like whole like we're trying to capture, and we're like, okay, let's take it back. So like one of the things that I really love that we did was we filmed the entire cemetery scene in the film. That's day for night. So we shot that in the middle of the day, but then the way we shot it and then the way we've edited it, it looks like it was filmed all at night. Okay. And it's probably one of the best ones I've ever seen. I was really kind of iffy going into it. Like I wanted to shoot at night and it was going to be like a couple of nights and cost a ton of money. And we're like, I don't know if we can afford this. And we were kind of going back and forth. And we were shooting at this really awesome Pioneer Cemetery up in Park City. So it's very old, very spooky looking.
Yeah, wow.
And finally we went up and did some test shots for day for night. And my cinematographer, Jackson Alder, who's just amazing. And when you see the film, you'll see why. Just like it looks beautiful. He did such an amazing job. But especially on the day for night stuff, like he went and did that. And yeah, sure enough, I was like, yeah, this looks great. And kind of also talking through like, this is what they would have done. Like budget wise too, back in the day, like they would have shot day for night. It was easier. They're not having to shoot at night, which night shoots are a pain if anyone's done it. Like I have one coming up this Saturday and I'm like really scared. they're long.
Yeah.
And you feel
Real
more
tired and
yeah. So
explain the process of day for night. So you're filming during day, but then you edit it in post to make it look like night. How does that work?
So it's really chasing the sun while filming it. And that was a great thing that Jackson did, was pretty much mapping out, you know, where we're going to film, we're filming at different points of the story, but like we have to film over here because this is like the trees are best over here, but you know, the sun's not going to be there until this time of day. So like mapping out, like we have this window only to shoot it. We did it in one day. So it was literally mapping all that out. You got that hard light, and then he made this beautiful, just kind of color grade that we already had built into the camera so that we could see it as we were shooting it to make sure that we were still on the right path. And we went in and changed, you know, a little bit, but for the most part, and then a lot of fog that helped a ton too, to kind of give it that eerie look and everything. Sound effects, you know, adding those in. So, it, you know, adding owls or whatever at the time. And so it sounds a little bit more night, but altogether, like throwing all that together, like super cool and like totally gives that vibe and made it a lot cheaper, made it able to do other cool stuff. But yeah, practical effects, we did as many as we could. Like we built a set, which, you know, as much as I would have loved to have gone and dug a actual 6-foot grave, it's kind of hard to then film in a 6-foot grave. So we had this awesome person I found that works at Castle Chaos. His name's Ethan King. He built this whole set, grave set that we were able to like tear the walls off and everything and then film from different angles, and which is super fun because in some elements you can kind of tell that it is a set, but at the same time it's like that's how they would have done it. And every time I watch them, like there's a few shots in there that I just feel so like, oh man, I feel like I'm watching a film from like the 20s,
right?
30s.
It just gives it that old school feel.
Yeah, and it's just really fun. And that's been the thing that I think the biggest compliment as we've shown this everywhere is the people that have noticed that and said like, I feel like I was watching a film from like an older time.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, okay, we that's the win.
Right. You accomplished what you set out to do. You have that nostalgic feeling for people watching and be like, okay, this feels familiar. This feels like something I've seen before. And it probably just, inspires you to keep on creating because you can see like how the old style filmmakers would make everything. And it really just probably gives you a lot more respect for the craft and how it was used to be done.
No, I feel like with filmmaking, a lot of times there's a lot of people that are looking at the new gadgets and new stuff, which I love and that I do too. But I think the more I've journeyed through this process is looking back instead of forward a little bit more, because there's so much stuff I feel like we're almost kind of forgetting a little bit, and like different stuff that like one of the things I love is like a lot of like push in and like dolly stuff. Like I've been watching like a lot of like John Ford stuff that I love that he did with those old Westerns and this stuff. I'm like, man, I feel like we don't get a lot of this anymore. And
right.
I want to kind of bring it back. So there's old filmmaking techniques like that I really love. And the new stuff is great. And I'm totally a full believer in that. But I think it's also good to look at what inspired the people that are so great now. Like, Martin Scorsese and Spielberg are obviously amazing, but you got to go look at who inspired them too. Like, because obviously they're adding it into their films, and you can kind of see this lineage of like, oh, this is where it was inspired by this, and it's lived on and stuff. So I think it's super fun, and it's made me a better filmmaker.
Okay, I love that. I want to talk more about like your crew that you went with. So how does it usually work on your crew specifically? Like, how many people do you have? What are people doing? What goes into making a film?
A lot goes into it. We're lucky we're just like all friends. I'm super fortunate for this, that we're just all like, we love films and we're like really good. Like I have like our main kind of like crew and everything, but then even like past that, like even our actor in this, Dave Martinez, who's phenomenal. I didn't know him until shooting this, and now like we when we premiered out at Holly Shorts, we all went to Disneyland together.
Oh no!
It's like how good friends we are. We're like, let's all go to Disney. Like I love him. I love everyone that worked on this film. Like I consider everyone that we worked with like super close friends and stuff. So yeah, it changes. Like definitely on something like Till Death, we had a bigger crew. We needed a lot more people because we had a lot more going on. I would roughly say like around 20 to 30 people depending on the day and how big the thing was. Which still sometimes feels kind of small. But
are these people from Ironside Pictures, or are these like friends?
These are all, these are all friends. I mean, we all kind of have our own like studio. We're in the so Ironside is kind of just what I guess I am. And we've kind of used it here and there, but we're in the process of making one where we can all like just all of us together and stuff. So
yeah,
we're because everyone's like, what do we call you? And everyone's like, is it Ironside or is it this? And we're like, we're making like a different one now here that will so we can finally answer that question for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's, a lot of friends that, the same friends that I met in high school, like were the editors, Tyler Bourne, who's the main editor, and Jordan Bourne, they're twins, edited the film, and they're phenomenal. But yeah, my little black book of just like all these amazing people and talented people that I've worked with, like, has just grown exponentially. And I feel like every project, like this project that we're working on this weekend, is like, people that we've worked on with. Maybe like we did like a commercial and it's like 10 people, but like 5 of those people we hadn't really worked with yet. And we're like, oh my gosh, these people are amazing right after we're done with it.
Yeah.
And so now we're like, okay, we need like this certain person for this and stuff. And we have a sound guy, this sound person can't make it. We have like 3 other people, which if you're a filmmaker, you know that finding a good sound guy is probably the hardest thing to do. Like when we got one, it was like, okay, that's awesome. But what are we going to do when that one person is busy? Then we got 2. And I was like, I'm on top of the world. Now we have 3.
Okay.
I feel very, very...
You got your bases covered.
Yeah, man, the fact that we have 3, like, I feel like the richest man in the world right now. So find a good sound guy. That's the hardest part. But yeah, even with Till Death, like one of the biggest things was like makeup and like finding like special effects makeup, and Aspen Rain that did the makeup for Till Death, like just found them on Facebook, Utah Filmmakers Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. A huge group of amazing, talented people all over Utah. But we just have a lot of awesome people that we'd love to work with, and we've met and have reached out to us, and we've reached out to them, and yeah.
That's super cool. Do you have like a favorite moment that happened on set or any memorable things that happened?
Man, there's a lot. Shoot. So I don't know which one to like choose from.
It could be multiple.
Yeah. I guess I'll say two, just like real quick. One of them was the day we filmed at the cemetery, and there's like two shots. There's one where he's like running away, and then later on he runs back. And it's this beautiful running shot through the cemetery. And I remember us trying to film it, and we were going to do it on this whole rig and stuff, and it didn't work. And then luckily there's like this random kind of like really tiny road, kind of not a road, but we were able to get a car in there. They let us get a car in there, and we used that as like the path for the car, and then hooked up the camera, and we were able to follow him as he's running. And I remember like each take, like we were getting closer and closer, like, okay, so it's almost perfect. And I remember when we finally got it, like just the eruption of everyone on set, just like freaking out, go, oh my gosh. And then we played it back, and everyone was celebrating, and just like just the teamwork and effort that went into like getting those just like two shots.
Oh, that probably felt so good.
Really fun and really cool. And then the other one is just like everything that we filmed at Pioneer Village was awesome, because I got to work with Jason Wade, which just a cool story with him. I grew up like watching him. He's in a lot of those like LDS films, like Cokeville Miracle, 17 Miracles. I like to call him, he was our 18th miracle.
Okay.
Getting him for the movie. But we were looking for an Undertaker for the film, and we just couldn't find anyone, and that just was working. And we were getting close to like shoot date, and we found someone that we really liked, and we were about to, tell him like, okay, we're gonna go with you. And I had reached out to Jason on Instagram, kind of as a joke. I'm like, there's no way this guy's gonna like reply to me, because like I couldn't find any of his like info, and I was like, I'll just message him on Instagram. And then like a couple of weeks before we we're gonna shoot, he's like, yeah, I'm interested. Like, send me the script, and I'll just like, yeah, I'll see what I think. And they like messaged me like the next day and was like, I love this. No, I want to be a part of this. And he sent in a tape of his audition, and I remember just being like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yes, we want you. And him being so willing, he lives in Cedar City, and drove up, and we filmed at the Provo Pioneer Village. And that whole, like, I think 2 days filming with him was so cool. And he's just like, it's kind of like that Utah star power, kind of like, it was just weird being like, I grew up as a little kid watching you, and I feel so weird that I'm like telling you what to do now, like I'm directing you. Like, I feel like, am I allowed to say that or do that? But you're like, he's this person, he's an actor, he wants to do the best that he can. And so those whole days and working with him, he's phenomenal. I love him. And I'm just always like, what can I get an excuse to work with you again? Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's with a lot of the people that we've worked with on this whole film and our stuff. I just feel so lucky to work with these amazing people. But sorry, the long ramble. Those two things I think about those all the time. Just like that one day at the cemetery, and then just all those days that we shot at the Pioneer Village with Jason, just like being able to like talk to him and hear his whole process of filmmaking and everything he's gone through, like with the Utah stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super cool. All right, so just to wrap things up, what are you like doing next? What is next in the lineup for you?
So we're working on a film this Saturday. It's called for the Jacob Owens horror competition. We did it last year. He's a really big YouTuber. Does these this horror competition. It's like the 7th or 8th year that he's been doing it. But we're working on that. We did it last year. We won 3rd, which was really cool and a big honor. But we're going a little bit bigger this year, and we're doing a true story. It's actually based off a story that happened to my dad when he was living in Montana in the 80s.
Okay.
During the Satanic Panic. So been wanting to tell this story for a long time, and just haven't had the means to do it. And so we've been gearing up for that. I've been super busy like working on that and getting that ready for that night shoot that is going to be super long, but really fun and stuff. So we're really excited to do that. And then I've been working on a feature. We're just slowly kind of going away with that and getting funding. We're hoping to shoot that down south, and that's like a neo-Western and stuff. And we're hoping that to be like our first kind of feature. We've been doing a lot of short films, and I've been dying to do a feature for a long time, but kind of glad that I haven't, because I've learned a lot and stuff. Yeah. But I feel like the time is slowly approaching that I think we're ready
You're about there.
for a feature.
Okay,
but
super cool.
we got a lot of stuff in the works.
Yeah,
we're
sounds like
keeping
it.
ourselves busy.
Nice. Okay, is there anything else you want to tell our audience? Do you want to pitch anything? Where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, just on Instagram. My Instagram is Hamblino. I guess we're figuring out our whole name. I guess our name right now that we're going with is Parish Pictures, which is kind of a nod to Till Death. You'll see that one of the last names or the last name of the bride that he's stealing from is Parish, and we thought that would be kind of a fun little nod. But yeah, the only thing is like Omeletto on October 3rd. That's when Till Death will be going up on there. And yeah, follow. We're all just separate, I guess. If you want to look up my Instagram, you'll then see everyone else attached, my producers and DP who I'm worked with a ton. And we're all doing stuff individually too. And even like go check what out they're doing because their stuff's amazing too. So yeah, we're keeping ourselves busy and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just thank you if you come to Oran Film Festival or if you watch the film. Like, thank you so much. And you could just, I don't know, if you want to let us know that you liked it on Letterboxd or whatever, or IMDb, or you just let us know. Like, that means the world to us. I think the biggest thing for us is just we love being able to make stuff for people, and just whether you like it or not, like the fact that you watched it, that means the world to us. So.
Okay, well, awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure talking to you as well.